Attention! The podcast you are about to hear is a candid discussion of current events in comic books and the comic book industry in general. It may contain any or all of the following: spoilers, inappropriate language and/or inappropriate discussion, opinions you do not agree with, fact mixed with opinion, and/or incorrect information. If at any point you feel offended or outraged, please try to remain calm. Thank you. Hey everybody, this is Brian Beecroft.
What's going on? This is Harold Walker.
And you are listening to the 25th episode of the Full Grown Fanboys podcast.
Talking about grown men over here.
Yes, indeed. This week I talk about New Warriors number 1 and the Midas Flesh number 3.
And it's going down with Justice League 28 and Ghosted number 7.
Nice. And as always, we finish up the podcast with some fanboy news from around the interwebs.
Some juicy goodness.
We thank everybody for listening, and
we will turn this cover page.
So you were saying you had something that came up while you were buying comic books this week about some sort of debate you were having.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This debate.
All right. I'm interested.
Man, how did it, like I said, I started with, I didn't even start it, like my friend did or whatever.
Okay, all right.
The new female friend or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, hey, just by chance, does anybody want to go to a comic book convention? And then it was like, the husbands were all geared for it. They was like, oh, when is it? When are we going to go? I want to get my collection good. And that got me kind of intrigued. But then when it came to the females, my friend was like, yeah, I'll go. But I wouldn't know what I want to be.
Okay.
And that's how it started. Then it trickled down to her friend was like, oh my God, that's a good idea. We can dress up for this and dress up for Halloween.
Okay. Was it about the same time? Oh, I see. You just recycle the costume.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So the friend's sister was like, really? I don't want to associate with them.
Oh, wow.
As soon as I heard them, I was like, oh, hold your insulting fucking tongue right now.
Wow.
I was like, what the fuck I was like, what do you mean by them?
Right.
She was like, I don't know. It's just, there's humans and then there's them.
Whoa.
And then I was like, explain this. Cause I was like, really, you're really offended me right now.
Right.
But before I said that, my friend was like, well, he likes comics and he draws. And then that's when it changed. She was like, oh, wow. Well, I guess you're still human then.
Oh, wow.
Like, I took it like this. I was like, okay, evidently you don't like comic books.
Right. Clearly.
At all.
Right.
And I said that.
But she's married to somebody who does?
Not like us.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like, he said a couple of titles, and I'm like, yeah, it's just not worth anything.
Okay. All right.
But as the debate kept going on, I was like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you dress up? I mean, I was like, I didn't say everybody. I was like, you'll be surprised by the people who do it.
Yeah, right.
And she was like, well, and this is where her stereotype kicked in. The normal stereotype of a fan person, is either overweight.
All right.
What else did she say? She said overweight.
I'm going to go probably overweight, wearing glasses.
That was one of them.
I think this pretty typical stereotype for comic book fan is not well groomed.
Yeah.
Is another one.
Oh, yeah, and they stink.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was the main one, she said.
Wow.
She was like, those people stink, and they act like they don't believe in showers. I was like, first of all.
Holy shit.
I was like, first of all, unfamiliar person that I don't know. Some people actually do put shit together pretty good. Right? I mean, you get those ones that can stay in that stereotype.
I'm not saying, that there aren't people who fit some of those stereotypes. That's true.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I ended it like this. I was like, you go to a convention and you speak and you say what the fuck you just said, and you'll see how much of a debate you'll be in.
Yeah, right? Right.
You know?
Nerd rage is a powerful thing. No shit.
So it didn't.
And I say that in the best possible way. I count myself among their number. I'm not separating myself from that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So we're going to do some reviews. I don't remember who started last time.
Then you go.
All right. Okay. I like to alternate it. I'm just saying I like to alternate it, but you know what? If we don't alternate it every time, then what you going to do?
Yeah.
My first book for the week is one of the new premieres from Marvel for the all-new Marvel Now, New Warriors number 1. Written by Christopher Yost, art by Marcus Toe. I'm assuming that it's Marcus Toe. It could be Marcus Two. I don't actually know. And the color art by David Curiel, whose name he's another one of those ones where I feel like I've heard that before. But I like this book. I got into it a little bit on Facebook in a very positive way. One of our listeners kind of was saying how much he liked it, and I completely agree.
Gotcha.
Right off the bat, I guess what I'm going to say is, and what I said to him on Facebook is, I was sad there was no Night Thrasher. It's a cool team, but I really would have liked to have seen some version of Night Thrasher. His point at the time was that Night Thrasher's dead. Partially true. True. The original Night Thrasher did in fact die. He had a brother, I guess, who took up the costume after he died and was Night Thrasher for a little while and then became the Bandit. I'm unfamiliar with the Bandit. I actually had to do a little research on that. But there you go. So they could bring him back. It's a possibility, but on the cover here he is not featured and there's no mention of him in the story. We've got all the names. We got Speedball, Justice, Scarlet Spider, Hummingbird, Sunbolt, and Nomura are kind of the new team. And the story opens with Speedball and Justice in Salem, New Salem. I think it's New Salem. And fighting the Salem 7, who, man, what a cool deep cut on that one. Like, I love those guys. I always love those heroes. There's one in particular, Thorn, that I've just always been a huge fan of. I love the character.
Nice.
And so they're getting into a little scuffle with the Salem 7, and in the end, it turns out the Speedball kind of said the wrong thing to the wrong person, and that there really wasn't any bad blood, and then everybody kind of gets along, which is kind of nice.
True.
They kind of use it as an exposition thread throughout the whole book, where Justice is talking to their leader, I guess, Vertigo. She's not really a leader, but she's kind of the spokesman for the group. There's also a kind of a side plot with Scarlet Spider and Hummingbird. The team is not together, in case you haven't picked that up. The team is not together in the beginning of the book. So they're all off doing their kind of separate things.
Gotcha.
Scarlet Spider and Hummingbird are in Mexico. They seem to be on the run from something. I'm not sure what, though. They never really call it out. And those are two characters that I am not at all familiar with. I do not know Scarlet Spider at all. I know he's a clone, and I know he's got basically Spider-Man's powers.
Is this the one with the blue hoodie, or?
He wears a red and black costume. That's all I can tell you in this version.
Oh, that's the black kid.
Nope, he's white. He's the clone of Peter Parker, so he would be white, and he has essentially the same powers, except apparently he can generate stingers, they call them, and it's like they're basically spikes that come out of his wrists, and he can stick people with them.
What the?
I don't really know anything about the character. I wish I did, but it's fair enough. Whatever. Hummingbird is again, maybe she was another version of something somewhere. I don't know. I don't know her character. She has emotion manipulation power. She can make you afraid of things, or give you courage or whatever. I don't know.
I don't know that, but go ahead.
New character to me, Sunbolt, kind of cool. Kind of almost like they wanted to bring back the old Monica Rambeau Captain Marvel. She's a black girl with she has gear, like high tech gear that gives her light power. She can shoot lasers and fly. I don't know if she can make things out of light yet. I don't know if that's a thing she can do.
That's crazy.
But she doesn't do it in the book. She just shoots laser beams and flies. And she is a pretty cool new character. She starts the story out by having beaten a group of bank robbers who were, robbing a bank. And she shuts them down and then flies off, and something explodes in a subway station nearby, and she goes and explores that. In Mexico with Scarlet Spider and the Hummingbird, they actually save someone from a mugging, almost sort of by accident, and then again are trying to hide, so they're hanging out on the beach afterward, kind of like, oh, this is, she's dissatisfied, I want to be a hero, and he's like, no, I'm done with all that shit. And while they're having this discussion, bodies start washing up on the beach, in this literal red tide of blood and bodies, and Nomura comes up out of the ocean and says something ominous about she's looking for heroes, and you're kind of left with that for now. We at the end of the story, Sunbolt is in the subway trying to find what happened. These robots keep showing up throughout the book, apparently like sort of like Sentinels, but run by the High Evolutionary. And they keep taking out all the quote-unquote half-breeds that they run into. So she goes down in the subway, and they're attacking the Morlocks. And you actually see, I think I saw Morrow in there. I don't know if there was any others that are easily recognizable, but I'm pretty sure it was Morrow in the foreground of the picture.
Yeah.
Again, these plot lines, they start. It's like I want to say it went somewhere. It doesn't. It kind of stops because it's only the first issue. So she kind of rounds a corner, and she sees this going on. And is just like, what the? And then we're on to the next little bit. So the whole book wraps up with Nova, who's also a member of the team, will be anyway. Well, yeah, I mean, because again, they're not really a team yet. They're kind of, they all know each other, but there hasn't. I guess the only ones that are a team in the beginning
is Speedball and Justice.
Speedball, Justice, and Nova. But Nova is off doing his own thing because Speedball and Justice actually make reference to. I wonder where Nova is. Like he's supposed to be here. Where is he? And he's off fighting some alien somewhere. And manages to almost defeat the alien. And just as he's about to kind of knock the alien out or put him on his ass or whatever he's going to do, this bolt comes out of nowhere, does it for him, and he's like, "Oh, what's going on?" And it's the robots that I had mentioned previously. He is confused, and then the High Evolutionary shows up and knocks him out. And says something about now they have a Nova. Loved the book. It was a good start. Where it winds up, we'll find out. It's a good beginning. So they make reference to some of their history. Apparently that does apply. This was a conversation that I had with our listener on Facebook, Alex. Shout out to Alex, who was actually super knowledgeable about the New Warriors and really appreciated his feedback on that. But they make some reference to, what had happened during Civil War and all that kind of thing. So I don't know how much of that carries over. With the all-new Marvel now, it's always very tenuous about what parts they keep and what parts they leave behind. Because, we've got Speedball back, but right, he was Penance for a while. And so I don't know what's happening as far as the continuity goes, but they do make reference to some of the history. So I thought that was really cool.
I don't know, guy. I don't know.
Okay, so what's your first book for the week?
My first book of the week. I don't know. I talked about this title frequently. Not frequently.
Well, yeah, it actually, I was going to say, it's been a while. You had mentioned it on a few of the older episodes, a couple of them, but you haven't talked about it in a while, so I'm really interested to kind of hear what's going on.
Yeah, man. This title is called Ghosted.
Yeah.
Issue 7, written by Joshua Wilson, David John Fleece.
Nice.
Colors by Miroslav Marva.
Okay.
Yeah,
I actually remember that name from another book we're reading. Yeah.
Ghosted, number 7. Previous issue, it's on its second arc right now. Issue 7 pertains to now that Jasper Jackson T. Winters, that's his name, protagonist of the book.
I was going to say, don't ask me. Yeah. You're the one telling me. Okay.
Yeah, he's in Mexico with his friend Trick.
Okay.
Evidently, what is going on now in this new arc is that they are on the hunt for an Indian tribe leader's daughter.
Okay. I vaguely remember you talking about this, actually.
Yeah, and so they're in Mexico, and it's still Jackson narrating the story, but going through it is like, yeah, you're like in the black market in Mexico now.
Okay.
So you're finding drugs, you're finding human trafficking, you're finding organs and all this and that. It started off with like Trick found one of those guys on the black market who's like an organ dealer.
Okay.
So to get to understand where this girl at or whatever. So he keeps explaining to him. He was like, "Hey man, this, that, and the third. I used to do this when we were cool, but now I'm about to show y'all, tell y'all what's going on. Who's the villains as a group." And yes, it's a group, and these guys are kind of deranged, kind of those cults.
Okay.
The guy Trick talks to, which was his old friend, I think his name is Terry or something.
Okay.
He ultimately set them up.
I see.
Because saying like, I'm not going to sell this group out. They pay me too good, type thing. So it was kind of, I saw that coming. So not only is that going on, like Jackson is like in tune with the I guess like the mercenary that broke him out of prison.
All right.
Like she's dead, but she's like a ghost.
All right.
Like a flat out ghost.
Seems suiting. Okay.
And so, and the group that hired Jackson Winters now, like their main travel guy is like he caught one of the intruders, like pummels him in the alley, and so Jackson's like, man, fuck it, I'm gonna go after the other two. Goes after the other two, they pummel him, and they're ready to kill him. And then who shows up but the ghost itself? Anderson is her name. So she shows up and is like, yeah, I feel like you shouldn't have died. You shouldn't die like this, Jackson. I only show up when you shouldn't die. I guess the curse she's putting on him is like, she is going to wait until he has a fitting death. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
And how these guys are trying to kill him, it's not fitting for her. So she just kills them anyway.
Okay.
And when everybody else shows up, they're like, wow, you always in a daze, and now you just murdered these guys like an animal. What happened? And he's like, I don't know.
Okay.
They just died.
All
Or
right.
whatever, right? And so the one they captured, he actually tells them where they at. They're like at this Mayan temple.
Okay.
And then the last thing he says, like it pissed Jackson off, though. He was like, man, why do I always have to go to a haunted house?
Okay.
Like,
all right. Fair enough.
Like the temple's haunted, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's like he saw the total opposite when he went to the temple.
Oh, okay.
It was like they made it out to seem like some like gory bloodbath torture scene. Nah, it was more like a brothel.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And sets his eyes on who he came to get. Come to find out, she wasn't literally kidnapped. She was there just to get away, like get away from everybody. Not everybody, but just from that tribe, because the tribe that hired Jackson has evil ulterior motives.
All right.
So as soon as she said that, he said the name of the tribe, she transformed to a demon and says, I wasn't captured. I left because of what they were going to do. And so she calls the guards in. Jackson's surrounded. Anderson shows back up, and she was like, Jackson asked her, he was like, you helped me before, but why are you not helping me now? And she was like, Jackson, I told you, I'm not going to, she's like, I'm not going to interfere if it seems fitting for me. And she was like, right now, this death right now is fitting for you. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, all right.
And that's the end. But I'm going to say my take on this new arc. For a new series, the way it's going, I like how they brought the black market into the whole story.
All right.
Just this one group is just after girls who are possessed by like a powerful demon.
Okay.
Like that's the whole grand scheme of the group.
Yeah, I have to admit, after the first arc, I wasn't sure where they were gonna go with it. It seemed like it should have been a miniseries, but obviously they had a plan. So cool,
Yeah.
cool.
So on my meter for 1 to 10, I give this issue a 7.
Yeah.
0.25.
Art wise, it looked pretty good. I mean, I was flipping through it.
Yeah, man.
Has the art stayed consistent? Has the art team been the same the whole time?
I think just the writer and penciler.
Okay.
But it does seem like a little more loose than it did the last arc, though.
Okay.
Like
All
it's more or less chasing going on
I see.
versus in the first one where they just were in a house
Right. Right.
and they couldn't run from anything.
right.
But when they got to draw the demons, it was a different story because everything was like, yeah, let me just squiggle lines, make this face with a circle.
This book in general, it's almost like Punisher meets Ghostbusters in a weird way.
Except the Ghostbusters don't even catch ghosts in this story.
Didn't he? Isn't that the whole point from the first arc? He was there to capture a ghost?
He tried to capture a ghost. It didn't matter which one it was, but it was kind of like the ghost made a deal with him. Like he knew he wouldn't get it. He knew he can get a ghost, but it would have to be that extreme measure. Like he couldn't just walk into the house and be like, "Hey, ghost, you're going to possess this person and you're going to walk out with me."
I see.
Nah, not like that.
Well,
like,
right.
Yeah.
But more or less.
He dropped a ghost bomb.
Dropped a ghost bomb like a bug bomb.
Hell yeah.
Okay. My second book for the week is one that, again, I've said this a couple times during the history of the podcast, I owe entirely to my wife's tastes. I went into the comic book shop to get my normal books, was not looking outside of that box. She went with me, and she picked something off the shelf, and again, it is one of the best things I've read quite some time, and just love it to death. It's called The Midas Flesh. It's put out by the Boom Studios imprint Boombox, which is relatively newish. Created and written by Ryan North, illustrated by Shelley Paroline and Brandon Lamb. I love this book. She picked it up because it had a dinosaur in it. As anyone who's listened to our podcast right along might know, my wife has a thing for dinosaurs. If it has a dinosaur in it, she's in. So she saw a dinosaur, picked it up. They actually had the first three. The third one came out last week.
Yeah.
We actually managed to pick up all three, so completely caught up. It's for this book in particular, I would say do not jump in the middle. Track down the first two and get in on the ground floor, because otherwise it's a little confusing. As a matter of fact, before I get into it, I actually wound up picking the books up out of order and read the second issue first.
Yeah.
Just by accident. I just thought I'd grab the first one. I will say that was not as confusing as it could have been. In a way, it kind of was almost like when I went back and read the first issue and read it right through, it was almost like I'd kind of wish they'd started with the second episode or a second issue. It was really neat. It's really neat storytelling in that way. Another thing I want to say before I get into it is Boombox. I think that there's a conception. I had said it to you that it was put out by Boombox, and what you said to me was, "Oh, the people who do all the kids books."
That's Kaboom or something.
It is Kaboom. It is Kaboom.
Something like that.
But Boombox also kind of has that. They actually address that in the letters column here about kind of what their mission is. And so for anybody who sees these books, Lumberjanes would be another one. And sees that they have a kind of cartoonish quality about them, do not be confused by that. It is more of an indie comic kind of vibe than anything that's for kids. This book in particular, I mean, it's called The Midas Flesh. It doesn't really read like, you wouldn't think, oh, that's for kids. But Lumberjanes, you might. Definitely not. Definitely for an older crowd, it's just more of a fun art style. It's just a different way of telling a story, and I fucking could not be happier about it. So anyway, the main thrust of Midas Flesh is it supposes, like, what if the fable, story, myth of King Midas were true? What if that actually happened? And what this book supposes is that it did happen and it destroyed the earth.
All right.
So what happens right off the bat is that the whole book begins with King Midas. He is kind of going through his day. He's having a normal day and looks out his window to see this guy asleep in his courtyard. He's kind of confused because he is a king after all. And to have just some random dude asleep in your courtyard is pretty weird. So he goes out and waits for him. The way that they characterize King Midas, I really enjoy. He kind of reminds me of the dude from Big Lebowski. Very much that dude kind of character. He's he's really laid back and he's perfectly content with his life. He's just like, yeah, whatever, man. And that's another thing. The language in this book is really fun. They don't use like these and thous because it's old or whatever. Like he literally ends sentences with like, whatever, man. Like stuff like that. Very cool. Very modern language. Even for the future bits, which is coming, there's actually starts in the sort of the mythical past and winds up in the mythical future.
All right.
He goes about his day, and this guy wakes up and he finds out that he's a king from another kingdom that's under sort of King Midas's rule, like a couple towns over, and was at his son's coronation. His son is now this guy. His son is now the king. His son being Dionysus, as it turns out.
All right.
God of wine and good times.
Yeah.
Amongst other things. And he had been at the party. He got really hammered and wound up somehow in this guy's backyard. And so he's like, oh, well, it's really nice to meet you. And the guy's like, you know what? I really should probably get going. I'm really sorry. And King Midas says, no, why don't you hang out? I'm a little lonely. I've all my daughters have grown up and left. My wife is dead, and I don't really have anyone that I can hang out with. And you're another king, so let's just chill for a little bit and, kind of get to know each other.
Yeah.
And so they do. And they have a great time over the course of like a week or so. And then finally it comes time for this guy to go home. And Midas is like, you know what? We're having a good time. Let me go back with you. I'll escort you back. I'll ride with you. So he goes to this, neighboring kingdom, and they show up and they meet Dionysus. Dionysus invites them to have a drink, as Dionysus is wont to do. Dionysus' father falls asleep, and it's just Midas and Dionysus, and they're talking, and again, as most or some drunk conversations are want to do, they start talking about, if you could have anything, what would you want?
Yeah.
And Dionysus is like, look, I just became king. I was like just king, like I've only been a king for like a week. so tell me, as a guy who's been a king for a while, what is the thing? If you could just snap your fingers and have it, what would you want? And King Midas says what you'd expect King Midas to say. He's like, well, I guess if I had my, one wish, I'd want everything I touch to turn to gold. And at that moment, there's a lightning bolt that comes down from the heavens. Everything gets blacked out, and he gets his wish. So the lights come back on, as it were, whatever the blackness was lifts, and sure enough, everything around him in this room is turned to gold. It so much so, like it actually affects everything, all matter. So now we kind of get into almost like a scientific kind of aspect to it, where it's like, what if you really had that power? How would it work? And so the deal is literally all matter that it comes in contact with turns to gold. So it starts with him like kind of having his hand on a chair. The chair is touching the floor, and the floor is touching the walls, and it spreads like that. It spreads like they describe it like electricity. It's conductive. So anything that's touching him is turned to gold, including the air, because the air is touching you, and it literally has form, even though we can't,
see it,
perceive it. Right? It literally has bits, and so those things start turning to gold, and so he dies almost immediately because his lungs are coated with gold powder from the air around him. He dies, falls down on the ground. His arms, his hands touch the ground as he's dead.
Yeah. And
literally turns the entire earth to gold. Yeah, pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
Even water. I would like to drink some
everything.
gold.
Everything. Like I'll get into it later, but yes, like even like if it were raining at the time, wherever the gold had spread to at that moment, like all the water splashing on things had turned to gold, and hailstones and all kinds of things. Like people were just frozen. Everything was just frozen in time. Turned to gold.
I would like to drink gold water, but not urine.
It's not right. And it's not. It doesn't have a liquid form anymore, right? It's literally solid. Everything.
Yo, that's gotta suck. Yo.
Turns. Yeah, exactly. So now we're in the far-flung future, and the government, the sort of fascist government of that time, has taken these great pains long ago to them to hide this planet, because again, anything that comes in contact with this planet is immediately and forever turned to gold.
Yeah.
So they quarantine this planet. They hide it. They erase all record of it. It never existed. They kill everybody who even knew about it, and it's gone. It's forgotten. And somehow this little group of adventurers, these two women, and as it turns out, a sentient dinosaur, find it, and are going to, they want to weaponize whatever it is. They don't know what it is. Whatever it is that makes this planet gold, they want to find it, and they want to weaponize it to use against this government organization.
Gotcha.
Because apparently, like I said, they're fascist, they're draconian, and they need to get taken down a peg. So they're gonna find whatever it is. They think it's like a bomb when they first show up. So it's the three people on the ship are Cooper, who's the dinosaur, Fatima, who's like a Middle Eastern kind of a researcher, and the captain's name is Joey, again also a female, and they spend, I think, basically the entire second issue just getting to the planet. They have to navigate this field of satellites that's designed to destroy anything that comes even near it. And they finally get down to the planet, and they are able to kind of experiment. They've developed this stasis field that keeps keeps the power from affecting things, that keeps them, they have their own, they go down in spacesuits, so they have their own, and they hang from tethers so that they don't touch the ground, and they collect a specimen and they bring it to their spaceship and they try to figure out how the power works. They finally figure out how it works. They are able to figure out that the epicenter, where the epicenter of the whole phenomenon started, they go there and they find, of course, King Midas, long dead, still on the ground, in contact with the earth, and his power is still working.
Gotcha.
As soon as they have rewinding just a little bit, as soon as they broached this ring of satellites that was around the earth, they set off an alarm back at the headquarters or wherever this government body is based.
Yeah.
And so they send out a team of bounty hunters to stop this little crew on their ship, the Prospect, and they send out these bounty hunters to stop them and to bring them back if they can.
Yeah.
And they find them. The mission to stop them does not go as well as one had hoped, and they wind up inadvertently in one case and sort of deliberately in the other, stopping the bounty hunters. They actually, the crew of the Prospect actually manages to take a single finger from King Midas's hand onto the ship, and again in this stasis field. And when they're trying to escape from the bounty hunters and whatever, they actually wind up dropping it out of the ship onto one of the bounty hunter ships, and turns it solid gold. And it's really kind of a cool idea. So they figure out a way to weaponize it, but it's not a very effective weapon.
Yeah. And
they wind up saving one of the other ones who, as it turns out, knows one of the crew members, Fatima. And that's kind of where we wind up in issue 3, is that they've figured out that they can sort of use it as a weapon. They haven't figured out exactly all the ins and outs of it yet. And now they've got this guy on board who's sort of a prisoner, but sort of somebody that they rescued, and what do they do now? And that's where they're at. I love this book so much. The characters are extremely well written, engaging, funny. They kind of have this, Fatima in particular kind of has, I kind of liken her to, the smidgen from Rat Queens, Betty. She has very much that same attitude where everything's dramatic and everything's like, she's always shouting out about something, and super funny. And Cooper has a very tragic background. His girlfriend or wife or whoever got killed, and that's why he's on this mission. And just so well done. The art style, do not be put off by the art style. It's intentionally cartoony. It is not supposed to be like hard sci-fi. This is supposed to be a little bit of fun, and it totally is. It succeeds on every level.
All right.
And absolutely love it. And so if you can find it, Midas Flesh, get it. Like I said, they're only on the 3rd issue. The 3rd issue just came out last week. The 1st and 2nd issues are still out there. All Track it down. Enjoy it, because it's great.
Hell yeah.
It's great. It's like a fairy tale and science fiction. It's like a science fiction fairy tale.
Hell yeah.
It's great. I love it.
Midas Flesh.
So yeah, I loved it. So what's your last book for the week?
Man, I say this with such disgust.
Okay.
Forever Evil.
Wow, disgust.
No, but
now again, I'm keeping up on this too. I was not disgusted by it.
No, I'm not disgusted by this either. But it's just
all right.
Week after week.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to do it until it ends. Forever Evil.
So not the main Forever Evil title though. Justice League.
Man, is it even necessary to say like the writers and the artists? Because
well, it's always good to kind of give credit where credit's due.
The immaculate Jeff Johns.
Yes, indeed.
The outstanding Ivan Reyes.
Oh, I like it.
And just a little inks and colors. Joe Prado.
Okay. He did the colors as well?
Rod Reyes did the colors.
Okay.
I think Scott Hanna did the inks.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, man, this particular issue, number 28, we go into the history of... For those who do know, this isn't the history. This is just the New 52 history. But the Metal Men have emerged. Well, the thought of them. No. I back up. They are a thing, as you say. This episode of Justice League is just, Dr. Will Magnus, Victor Stone, a.k.a. Cyborg 2.0, are just talking about Will Magnus's failure of the Metal Men, which inevitably they were not a failure.
No.
They were not. Never a failure. But
well, to him. Only to him.
Yeah, because he doesn't...
he's failing to see what he's created because it wasn't what he had intended. That doesn't necessarily make it a failure.
Yeah, I guess that's what Cyborg is saying to him now. Like, no, they are the only ones who the grid can't interfere with, can't track.
Right.
But you are throwing a hissy fit because they have emotions, and...
Right. And they were supposed to just follow orders. They were supposed to be just mindless automatons, basically.
But what I do like about these new Metal Men is like more or less of their emotions. It's like who can do what instead of just showing up and be like, oh yeah, we can form all our metals into this one gigantic metal. I don't. In Brave and the Bold, they did that. They were all smiles and cheers. Nobody was aggressive. Nobody was sad or anything.
Okay.
But in this one,
well, I think I will go so far as to say I think that was a different version. Yeah. Typically, they do have the personalities that are in this book. That is the standard sort of Metal Men.
Yeah, but but just to like, not to say the different years as the years goes by or whatever, but just how they brought him into this forever evil thing. Like, of course, if we have something that can just track everything technologically wise,
right?
Why not find something that can't be tracked? I'm not saying tracked, but just can't be detected by grid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
exactly so.
When I was reading, as I was reading it, hearing this dude Will Magnus cry, just because you can't deal with humanity doesn't mean that what you created, is a failure.
Exactly so.
Exactly
so.
And what he is saying, when Will Magnus said that they can't come back, as Cyborg said, incorrect. These responsometers are still talking.
Right.
Talking as in, for us, it would be just that buzzing, that humming sound.
Right.
It's like you just hear that zzz,
right.
Like a vibrating phone.
Exactly so.
And so he not only unveils the responsometers, but there's all of them are there, which kind of threw me for a loop. Another loop again. The Justice League were they're doing their initiation of a new character. Not a new character, a new team member. Platinum was there. Where in this story, when they all split up, did she have time to go to the Watchtower and to Will Magnus's house? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I missed that whole thing, so I don't know.
Yeah. Like that's what kind of fascinated me about Cyborg going after the Metal Men. Because Platinum was there during the initiation. A fight broke out and she left.
Okay. All right.
But as far as all of the Metal Men go, I want to say if I had a video game with the Metal Men, my go-to guys would be Iron and Mercury.
Okay.
And Lead was kind of like, oh, I can't make a shape, but I saw something so beautiful.
Yeah.
What is this? Like, you talk uber slow, dude.
Yeah, this is true.
But I see...
Which I feel like didn't come across particularly well the way that they wrote it out in the book, but that was a small complaint. I just felt like it didn't read slow, it just read weird and
you pause between every word instead of every sentence.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I just felt the way that they punctuated it just made it very confusing to read to me.
And then 10, he's like so timid, like a scared little child.
Right.
But ultimately, they weren't a failure because they did come together. Like, they secured the surrounding. Basically, they were maintaining the threat. Is what Will Magnus didn't understand.
Okay.
You're like, why are you saving them? That's the threat. Like, no. These people are in danger.
Right, yeah, no, absolutely.
And now...
Well, they had been programmed for that,
Yeah.
In that way, that was another thing that kind of fucked with Magnus's mind, is that they were following the program, just not in the way that he intended.
Yeah.
So, again, it's all about sort of his perception of what the perfect
human
would be, right, or what the perfect robot is for that matter.
Yeah. But man, just, you know what? When you're intelligent and you can create something, you should just steer clear from the government.
Yeah, fair enough.
Point blank, period.
Fair enough.
Because they tell you, yeah, you're going to create robots for a certain rescue mission, but they're online. They look amazing. Well, we're going to have them assassinate this one guy in Kandak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really? Is that you paid me what I could never make in life?
Yeah, well, they didn't pay him. They gave him a research budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he was supposed to use on research, which he did. But I mean, like you said, he spent he literally had a vat of molten gold to make gold. So I mean,
see, that's crazy.
I mean, yeah.
And he was like, "You're not supposed to feel, not supposed to love."
Or again, a vat of molten platinum. Like, I mean, that doesn't come cheap. So
man, I wonder how much that costs.
I don't know, but apparently somewhere within the realm of $66 million. Isn't that what they said they gave him? $60 million?
I don't know.
Yeah, I believe in the issue it says references something about $60 million.
But yeah, man, Ivan Reyes, man, did the work yet again.
Yeah, no, every time. And actually, I just want to give credit where credit's due. Ivan Reyes only did the layouts for this. The artwork was actually done by Joe Prado and Scott Hanna. So. Just to be absolutely clear, although Ivan Reyes is a fantastic artist and has just knocked it out of the park every time, he did not actually do the heavy lifting on this episode. I'm sorry, this issue. Do it all the time. I don't think we'll ever stop doing that.
I'm not.
But did not actually do the heavy lifting, as it were, on this one.
Yeah.
So Joe Prado and Scott Hanna, who still did an admirable job. So I guess we'll start... our little news segment here. We'll talk about some stuff that's been going on this week in fandom in general. Yeah. The first thing I wanted to talk about was the casting for the Fantastic Four. So have you seen the pictures? Have you seen who it is?
I haven't seen the pictures, but I saw like the little breaking news, like, hey, the cast of the Fantastic Four is out. Yeah,
I was kind of thinking you hadn't actually seen it yet, because I thought you might have more to say about it once you'd seen it. Okay, so Reed Richards is his name is, the guy that they chose is Miles Teller. He is a pretty standard looking Reed Richards. He looks very much like you'd expect him to look. I'm reading this off of IGN. Teller's first film role was in the powerful Nicole Kidman, Aaron Eckhart drama Rabbit Hole. Apparently, he was also in the Footloose remake.
Oh my God.
And in Project X and 21 and Over. None of those movies I have seen, so I have absolutely zero concept of who this person is. He looks very much like you'd expect Reed Richards to look. That's what I'll say. It was a very good choice.
You said Project X?
Yeah. That's the party movie, right?
Yeah, that's the one with
Haven't seen it.
Oh, man. You are not a college student if you haven't seen that movie.
No, I'm a 40-year-old man. Thank you very much.
Nice. You will be amazed. I'm not trying to cut you off, but...
No, you're fine.
You're going to be like, wow.
No, I'm not.
No.
Because I'm not going to watch that movie.
No, because like, when I saw it, I was like, really? This is what kids really do now?
No.
That's why I know it's not real. I know it's not real, but it's like, really? Like, why couldn't we have thought of this? Not, I'm gonna backtrack.
All
why
right.
couldn't we thought of this in high school? Like this dude literally sent a text message.
Yeah.
Through the whole school.
Well, we didn't have texting.
True, we had paper.
We had a landline phone, probably rotary dial, depending on where you lived.
Yeah.
We're dating ourselves a little bit, but fair enough. Okay, let's move on to this casting news here. Johnny Storm. Are you ready for this? Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan is Johnny Storm. Are you familiar with that name?
No.
Apparently was in Chronicle.
Oh, Michael B. Jordan. Was he in Lawless?
I have him here as being on The Wire, Friday Night Lights, and Parenthood. He is a youthful-looking young black man.
See, why did something struck me about this cast said black? Something about it had black in it.
Here's what I'm going to say about this.
All right.
Why make Johnny Storm the black guy? I don't care in as much as, okay, and we'll get to it, but Sue Storm is white. And again, I get people have, different races in their families at times, and you don't have to have a white sibling or, whatever. It just seems weird to me that they went that way. Why not? My point being, why not make Ben Grimm black?
I knew you were going to say Thing.
But why not?
Because he's essentially the friend of the family. I could see that, but
my point is, I think he would sound cool with a black guy as the voice. I think he would, there's certainly plenty of like bulked up, like let's use Terry Crews.
Yeah, I was about to say that too.
How fucking awesome would that be?
But he would just like visually, now I'm probably gonna speak for Disney when I say this. They want the Thing to be visually represented as he is in the comic book. Like he's not tall.
Okay, but explain to me this then. If that you're going to make that point, then explain to me this. If they want him to be visually represented like he is in the comic book, why do we have a black Johnny Storm?
Change of the times.
Okay, but here's what I'm saying.
That's the catch-all and shit.
So it doesn't apply to one character, not the other. I just feel like this was a weird choice. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not really digging the whole.
I feel like it was a weird choice.
I know who the black dude is. He was you say he was in Chronicle?
He was.
Yeah, he died in Chronicle.
Okay, all right. But again, not a movie. I'm not a big movie person generally. So, and I certainly would never have watched Friday Night Lights. So let's move on to Sue Storm, who is Kate Mara.
That name sounds familiar.
Again, I am not familiar with this person. Apparently, she's in House of Cards.
Is that a TV show?
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't watch TV.
I really do. If it's a TV show, and I'm sorry for sounding ignorant, everybody, but I don't know who that is. I don't know what that is. Apparently, it has Kevin Spacey and Robin Wright in it.
Who's playing Doom?
They haven't decided. They haven't released any information on the villain yet. Yeah. So that's a thing. And Jamie Bell as Ben Grimm, who has been in films Filth, Dear Wendy, The Chum Scrubber, and apparently turned up in Jumper.
Jumper.
Yeah, which I've seen part of. It's one of the few movies I can say I've seen part of anyway.
It's a pretty good movie.
It was horrible, and I'm not sure what movie you were watching, unless you're being sarcastic right now.
No, I actually pretty like that.
That movie sucked.
I like the idea of it.
The idea of it's awesome.
I'll leave it at that.
But you know what? The idea of a lot of shit's awesome. The execution was bullshit.
The hell is that?
Fucking terrible. The execution of the movie. Them making the movie.
Oh, I thought you meant that like that was a movie. The execution. I was like, oh
no,
shit.
No. The execution of the movie was terrible.
It didn't explain a lot.
It didn't explain anything. Hayden Christensen sucks.
Oh, he was at the height of his Anakin shit.
Yeah, okay. Fair. Well, he was at the height of people knowing who he was. He's never been a good actor, and I will fight anybody to the death on that one. He is terrible. He is one of the worst actors ever.
I didn't go
he
that far.
literally killed the Star Wars movies. I mean, they weren't great. Let's not go crazy. The first three, or episode 1, 2, and 3.
You talking about 4, 5, and 6?
No, I'm talking about 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, because
were passable, I think. And 2 was the worst one of the 6, without any question. And I will argue any day with anyone about that. 2 is horrible. And 3 was only slightly better because they figured out, oh shit, we've got to have him not talk so much. So he does a lot less talking in that one.
It's more or less whining in the second one.
Yeah. And that flimsy, I'm not going to get into it, but that flimsy sort of detective story with who tried to kill Amidala and them chasing, it was horrible. It was a horrible film.
But what I did like about it, the second one, was Dooku.
Yeah.
I just like that. I didn't care anything else about the movie until that happened.
Fair enough. But Fantastic Four, anyway, that's what's going on with Fantastic Four. Those are definitely the 4 people who are playing. Again, this is coming off of IGN, so if you want to see them for yourself, head on over to IGN. The article's still up, and check out those pictures. But I got to tell you, I don't know, man. I'm not feeling it because the guy playing Ben Grimm, by the way, we kind of got sidetracked there. The guy playing Ben Grimm is like a little skinny dude. I'm not saying he couldn't put on muscle or whatever. I'm not saying that. I mean, look at Chris Pratt. I mean, Jesus Christ, that guy's fucking ripped now. So, but he is kind of scrawny. He's like kind of a little dude. at least in this picture I'm seeing. So
Yeah, he might be hitting the gym right now.
and I know, right? Once he turns into the Thing, it's the Thing and all this other. Okay, whatever. But it's kind of nice, like when you got like Michael Chiklis, who's already kind of got some meat on his bones.
Yeah.
It's a little more believable when he becomes the Thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Chiklis.
Yeah. He was the best part of those movies. He held up the whole rest of the movie, in my opinion. Ian Griffod or Griffod or however you say his last name. No disrespect to the guy, I guess, but I don't know. Was a passable read, but who is he and where is he now? I guess that's what I'm saying. What's her name? Jessica Alba, right?
Yeah, she's still.
Yeah, okay, but here's my thing about that. She in the second movie, basically, she acted like she didn't even want to be there. She did not act in that movie at all. She just recited lines. It was like she was clearly just there to collect a paycheck. So what was the point? Like, just get somebody else. It was horrible. And Chris Evans, let's face it, right? He makes a way better Cap than he ever made Johnny Storm. Johnny Storm, he was good. I'm not saying he wasn't good. I'm saying he's a way better Cap.
I don't know, because see, people had to follow Chris Evans before this newfound Chris Evans came out.
Yeah.
Like when that Fantastic Four came out, I was like, damn, they got the dude from Not Another Teen Movie.
Yeah, he'd been in a couple things. And I think a couple rom-coms too somewhere.
No, because I was explaining that to somebody. They was like, yeah, who is this Chris Evans guy? I'm like, you never seen Not Another Teen Movie?
Right, but again, I think it was like in more commercial films than that too. Like I think that was one, but I think he was also in a couple romantic comedies as like the handsome guy.
Yeah, he was with Anna Faris. I don't know that number 9 or some shit. Some with a number.
Okay, and so he kind of had some cred when he came to that role a little bit anyway. And Michael Chiklis obviously was in, I'm just saying that Jessica Alba totally phoned it in on that one. But on to people who can act. So Gotham had some new casting news. In addition to people may already know, Donal Logue is going to be Bullock. Super excited about that. He's a great actor. We also got this week Jada Pinkett Smith. Yeah, there's going to be a character called Fish Mooney. I think that's just horrible, but good for her. And I am not a huge fan of hers. I know that she did Nurse Jackie, right? Wasn't that her for a while on HBO?
Yeah.
Or Showtime? I'm not sure which one.
One of those channels.
One of those pay, subscription channels.
Page Go.
Yeah, and so cool. We got some big name talent going on already, and so that's pretty awesome. Having somebody with that sort of clout,
yeah.
And again, people who, Donal Logue did Grounded for Life is where probably most people know him from, but he was in Blade. I think the first 2 Blade movies, right? He dies in the second one. He's the minion. He's Stephen Dorff's right hand man, the guy who steals the sunglasses.
Oh yeah, he was in the second. He was in the first one.
He was in the first one. I thought he made it through to he didn't make it through to the second one.
No, that was Norman Reedus.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
Norman Reedus.
All right, but yeah, so awesome.
It's ironic that his name was Quinn in the first one.
It's good that they're taking this seriously. That it's not just some toss. Some show they're just tossing out there. They're actually trying to put some effort into it. Seems like.
Yeah.
That's really good. Especially capitalizing on the success of Arrow, which is just awesome. And actually one of the news stories that were coming up on here. As a matter of fact, you know what? Since I mentioned it, let's just talk about it now. On Arrow. This is coming off of CBR. We have a full cast shot of the Suicide Squad, which is going to be premiering
is it a TV show?
Very soon. What?
Is it a TV show?
No. Their appearance will be premiering on Arrow. They will be a part of the Arrow continuity.
What?
They already are. Actually, as a matter of fact, they've already set up all the characters, and now they're going to be assembled into a team led by Diggle, and under the supervision of Amanda Waller, who's already again made an appearance. She's approached Bronze Tiger, played by Michael Jai White. Does a great job. Great job. Let's see who we got on the team. Obviously, Bronze Tiger. I already mentioned him. We had Mark Schaefer show up as Shrapnel. I'm sorry. The guy's name is Sean Mayer, but the character Shrapnel's real name is Mark Schaefer. Deadshot. and of course Amanda Waller. So
no Harley Quinn.
What? No. They are going to throw Harley Quinn in there
Because
that's running too close to Batman. You're running into Batman territory there. They'll never do that. Not on Arrow anyway. Really excited. All these characters are well established in the show. They've all had Michael Jai White's now been in 2 or 3 episodes as Bronze Tiger. Deadshot, I believe, again shown up 2 or 3 times in various, a couple times. At one time he was kind of a sideline where he was in a prison where Ali got captured and put, and then he was face to face with Deadshot, as it turns out. Waller's been showing up and offering people this and offering people that. I'm really interested in Diggle being involved. Diggle in the show has Deadshot was responsible for killing his brother. So even though it's come out during the show that Deadshot, I guess he killed his brother by accident. Diggle always thought that it was his brother was the target of the hit, and as it turns out, like the one time that Deadshot's like ever missed, and he wound up killing his brother instead of the actual target. So, kind of an interesting plot line there.
I'm just curious to see how they made Deadshot, because I kind of like him.
Well, you can watch the show. It's on TV.
Oh no, I can't not now.
Well, but my point is, if you're interested in seeing it, you can just watch it. It's on TV.
Yeah,
and he looks good. He has like the cyborg eye. He's lost an eye, and he has the enhanced eyepiece thing in his eye, and it's really, really cool. It does all the calculations on the wind trajectory or bullet trajectory and wind speed and all that kind of shit. So I guess that'll do it for this week. I think we're out of stuff to talk about, and certainly we have talked about a bunch.
Hell yeah.
So anyway, everybody, thank you so much for listening. Just another shout out to our friend Alex there who hit us on Facebook, and a word to everybody else, man. If you got something on your mind, reach out to us on Facebook. I would love to interact with more people that way. So if hit us on Facebook, hit us on Twitter. I promise we will get back to you. I monitor that pretty much constantly. So everybody, thank you so much for listening.
We will wipe our hands off and close this hard to cover ending.
Alrighty.
I know it's kind of odd.
I might be able to work another one in there if you want to take another whack at that.
No, it's all good.
Okay.
It's all good.
If you enjoy the podcast, don't forget to like us on Facebook, where you can find us as Full Grown Fanboys, or to follow us on Twitter as @FullGrownFanboy. That's fanboy with no S. Also, be sure to subscribe to our RSS feed through our homepage at www.fullgrownfanboys.libsyn.com or through iTunes, and have our latest episodes delivered to your favorite device every single week.